$4.99 a pound. Usually they were about $3.99 a pound.
Yep.
So somewhere they had a big cherry crop.
Yeah.
Certainly not in this area, not with the range we had.
No, probably not. These came from Costco, actually, the Rainier cherries. Those are what I prefer. And I really like them frozen. You just stick them right in the freezer.
Oh, frozen?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
just
really?
whole frozen.
I've never done that. I've had.
And they taste like a little popsicle.
I love frozen grapes.
Uh-huh.
I've done frozen grapes, and you freeze grapes and put them in a parfait glass with a dollop of sour cream. It makes a wonderful appetizer.
Yeah. Wow.
The tick comes right
So
up.
come back. It'll come back as Home Depot.
We're here with Mariah and
I did
Cal,
go to,
and I got
Rite Aid
questions to
yesterday and
ask
got some
Cal.
pony packs, and I should have bought some Lobelia.
Yeah.
So Fairfax Lumber
I'll ask him a story here.
is just a rip-off place now that Yardbird is closed. They're terrible.
Oh.
I bought a garden hose. Their cheapest garden hose was $16.99.
Wow.
Which I used to buy at Yardbird for $5.99. And it's a piece of crap. It's the worst garden hose I have ever bought in my life.
Cal,
Hello?
excuse me, but I'd like to ask the story of how you and George wound up here.
How we wound up here? Well, Rick and I bought it originally. My friend before George bought it as a summer house. We've been all over Marin and Sonoma County looking for a house with a pool. And of course the real estate men took us to all these fancy houses. We didn't want that. We wanted something, a fixer-upper, but we wanted the pool. And this was a tacky pool. It was just a painted cement pool, but it was a nice big one. And it's a very good one. It's a paddock pool. They don't make them like this anymore. When they had the coping off to replaster, the walls are like this thick. Now the new pools, the walls are about this thick. And it's a nice big pool, you know, it's bigger than most.
Yeah.
So we bought it. It was just a 4-room cottage, very Russian River. And Rick and I used it the first summer. We spent a lot of time over here because I was working over here and he was in real estate. His time was free. And then by spring of the second year, he'd met someone else and sort of dumped me. Well, thank God there was the cottage.
Yeah.
Because I came over here and lived. Well, then he used my name. Fortunately, he used my name to buy it because he didn't have a cash flow. I had cash flow because I was working. So my name was on the property right from the beginning. Well, then he found a piece of property in the city. He called me up and said, I need your signature. We're going to become millionaires. We bought this 12-unit building, right over near the hospital. I guess it's Kaiser Hospital over there. Well, it's very close to the fringe black area. Well, all Rick ended up with was black tenants. Didn't pay their rent. They trashed the place. It was a beautiful building with lockout iron gates. They broke those. There were carports down the back. They broke every door on the carport. They never remember their keys. They don't remember their keys. There was a beautiful reflecting pool out in the entranceway, which was full of cans and paper. Just trash. One guy was in jail, so how do you collect this rent when he's in jail? So Rick sold it to some Oriental people. 6 months later, they had it filled with all non-blacks. I don't know how they did it. But anyway, when he sold it, he had this extra money. He said, I need to take $2,500 to do something that I need to do. He said, is there something you want for $2,500? I said, yes, I want a baby grand piano. So that's when I bought my little baby grand. And I lived over here, and it was fine. Rick used to bring a gang over every Sunday. I'd feed him. I fed him hamburger every weekend. He brought one hot-shot guy over one time who was I think he was a veterinarian. I mean, really, you know, drove the Mercedes. Had the bloody nerve to wash his car here on my water. You know, I mean, he was a real ass. And at the end of the week, I think he was here, it was a 3-day weekend, and he said to me, gee, you've managed to feed us hamburger all weekend long, you know. I didn't see him going up to the store and coming back with a T-bone steak for everyone, you know. But, so there were some asses. But we had fun. We had some wild parties. I mean, oh God, we had one wild party. They're just, a lot of them were into drugs in those days. Rick was even into light drugs. And there's some pretty trashy people. But it was only half my house, so I couldn't say too much. And then Rick ended up with this really bright guy who, when he got drunk, was just an absolute son of a bitch. I mean, he was the worst human being I've ever known. And he and I had a real fight one night. I dragged him out the front door and had a brand new shirt on, ripped his shirt off him. And I said to Rick, I said, you know, we may own this house together. I said, but this is my home. I don't want that guy over here ever again. So then Rick said, well, I guess we better sell the place. Well, that left me up in the air. Now what the hell do I do? Well, by this time I'd met George, and he was coming over on weekends. And as luck would have it, he had a lesbian maiden aunt, and her lover lived in Barbados. And when Hazel died, she left George everything. So he flew back to Barbados and came back with quite a good deal of money. So I suggested, I said, why don't you buy Rick's half of the house? And so he did.
And you guys were just friends at the time?
No, not really.
Okay.
We were tricky.
Okay.
And so he bought, and then I had the money from selling the apartment building. I had like $25,000 in a T-bill. So I had that money, and George put up an equal amount, and that's when we added on to the house. Mm. And then he moved in. And
what year was that?
Then I discovered, that was 1980 we added on to the house. Mm. And then I discovered he wouldn't part with anything. Mm-hmm. I should have known when he moved in. He had this huge van to move in from the city. And he moved in about 10 stacks of old magazines. I mean, you know, 10 stacks of, oh God. And shortly after he moved in, I cleaned his room one day. Well, I put all these magazines out in the back storeroom. Well, he wouldn't speak to me for 2 weeks because I touched his room. So I just stayed out of it. So I said, okay, mister, it's your room. I never touched a thing. I mean, I wouldn't wash the windows down there or anything. Well, in 35 years, he never washed a window.
Wow.
And the hilarious thing was, he'd go out. You should see the cleaning products he had. I don't buy cleaning products. I get by on ammonia. Sudsy ammonia is my cleaning product. He's got a shelf of, I mean, goo off. All sorts
but he doesn't use them.
He doesn't use them. He bought all this stuff, never used anything. He bought paint. He was supposed to, you know, we had his bathroom door and the bedroom door we had him repaired. He was supposed to paint them. He bought all these fancy paint brushes, never touched a can of paint. And I just refused to do anything down there. I mean, you know, come on, I couldn't do everything. So, I mean, he was a good guy in many ways. He treated me well. He bought me beautiful clothes, and you know, we were never out of money.
And he left you well off.
He left me quite well, quite comfortable.
There you go.
Yeah.
So thank you, George.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, George.
Yeah.
Yeah, bless
Yeah, I'm really happy that he left it all to you.
Yeah.
Bless his little soul.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good life together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How many years? 20, over 20?
30 years.
Mm-hmm. It's a long time.
I'm very mellow, so fortunately we didn't fight much.
Yeah.
I just walked away.
Yeah.
Once in a while I'd get really mad and scream bloody murder at him. Then he was like a little boy who'd go out. You scolded me, you scolded me. Because he was a little boy. And the funniest thing with George was he'd refer to everybody, oh, he's a Peter Pan. He was called Barry a Peter Pan. He's never grown up. He's Peter Pan. My friend Tom, oh, he's a Peter Pan. He's never grown up. Everybody was a Peter Pan but George. He was the Peter Pan. Poor baby.
Yeah.
But I guess he was pretty ill the last few months. You know, he'd talked to Frank and told Frank that he never told me, he never confided in me much. I mean, emptying out his room, I mean, I've learned things about him I had no idea, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't know he subscribed to all these porny magazines and things. Oh dear. Which I did when I was very young. But, oh, you want another carrot? Tell Barry you want a carrot. Well, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Our friends all loved him, you know, because they didn't see the...
Right. he was such a
Yeah.
sweet host.
Gracious joie de vivre with
Gracious,
everybody.
very gracious.
And the hugger, which I've only become a hugger lately. I never hugged. I mean, being Canadian, you don't hug someone.
Oh.
I mean, come on, I haven't been properly introduced. When I was on the ship going to Europe, somebody pushed me in the swimming pool, and I thought, smart-ass guy, I don't know who the hell he is. What's he doing pushing me in the swimming pool? Well, it turned out he was the ship's social director. Who turned out to be a wonderful guy. Rick had a birthday. Rick had a birthday while we were on the ship, and the only thing I could figure to buy him for his birthday that I could pack, I bought him a lovely watch. And so we had a beautiful little German girl sitting at our table. There were 8 of us at the table. Gorgeous German girl. She was so delightful, and a wonderful dancer, which I was thrilled. And so I wrote on the menu. Rick didn't want anyone to know it was his birthday. I wrote on the menu to you that it's Rick's birthday, but don't tell anybody. Well, by this time, she and the social director were having a bit of an affair.
Oh.
So she told Lalo that it was Rick's birthday, and this guy was a character. I mean, he was a real crazy, good-looking Italian guy. He came right up to Rick at the bar, put his arms around him, and kissed him right on the mouth and wished him happy birthday.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Rick just about fell off the bar stool. We missed a couple of golden chances. There was this gal used to come. They served tea and petit fours out by the pool every afternoon at 4 o'clock, and we'd always be there because of beautiful cream filled. Matter of fact, we had a French lady sitting at our table, and she used to scold us for not having dessert at every meal because she said, "This is my 3rd trip on the Michelangelo. This ship has the best pastry chef afloat. You're missing out not having all this stuff." Anyway, this gal used to come. She was fascinated by Rick's belly button. We'd be in our swimsuits out by the pool, and she used to put her finger in Rick's belly button, and we'd say, "God, she's a fresh little bitch, isn't she?" When we didn't have too much to do with her. Well, we found out a couple of years later, there's one couple that we really made friends with. She was from Paris, he was from St. Louis. They came out and visited us in San Francisco, so they told us. And we wondered, a lot of the young people on the ship left the ship when we were in Naples. And we heard they were going to Rome, but we didn't know much about it. Well, it turned out Miss Bellybutton was a rich bitch. She had a villa in Rome, and she invited all these people to her gorgeous villa in Rome. So we really missed out there.
You never know.
But you know, when you're traveling, we were traveling on a budget, and you know, some of these broads, I mean, all they want is you to buy them drinks, you know. Matter of fact, there were 2 Canadian boys traveling that we couldn't stand, and they spent their whole time buying drinks for the young gals. But anyway, back to how we got the cottage. Yes. So anyway, that's how Rick had put up all the money, but because he used my name, and he just simply gave me half the cottage when he sold sold half to George.
Wonderful.
And he sold half to George for, I think, $28,000. George never stopped complaining. That Rick really ripped him off by selling him half the cottage for $28,000.
Oh my God.
And you paid $28 for the whole cottage.
We paid $24.95 for the whole cottage.
Yeah.
Inflation.
Oh yeah.
But it's definitely worth it. We were thinking of offering you 68,000.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, a good
Maybe
good
as high as
profit.
75. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Hey, let's start
Tip
talking
our hand.
Let's start talking in hundreds of thousands. Huh?
We don't got it.
Oh yeah, we can talk. We can talk. We can talk.
It is a lovely piece of property.
It is a wonderful little
And you've had
property.
many years here, and that's really,
And in
sweet.
truth,
And I've loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
I
Except
just
for the
want you
floods.
here for many more years to come.
Yeah.
When you're ready to sell it, we'll be very, very happy to buy it, but we're in no hurry to
No
lose you.
hurry. No hurry.
Oh, isn't that great?
Yeah.
We have a little crow convention going on.
Oh, wonderful. I sit here and watch the birds coming out of the creek, everything.
Yeah.
Greenback herons, giant blue herons sometimes. Every once in a while a blue heron will come out, and man, it's like a B-29 bomber.
Yeah.
One day I saw a huge white
Egret?
egret, and it landed in that tree over there, and it sat there for almost an hour grooming itself. I had
my
no idea they
gosh.
groom. They hold their wings out, and they groom down,
how lovely.
groom down their feathers with their big long beaks.
Yeah.
That was lovely. I've seen some wonderful birds here.
Yeah.
I finally gave up on my binoculars because when I lost my good glasses last summer, I was having eye problems because the cheaters just don't work that well. If I try to read the cheaters, my right eye gets itchy. I told you the story about my glasses, didn't I, about it?
Well, you told me, but go ahead and I don't think
the
Barry
flood
heard it.
finding the glasses.
Yeah.
The glasses?
After the flood?
I
Oh.
lost my prescription glasses
Yeah.
last summer working in the yard. And about a month after the flood, George jokingly said, maybe the flood found your glasses for you. I said, oh, sure. Well, 3-4 weeks ago, we were sitting right at this table, and I looked over to that patio, and one of the cracks were these muddy things, and I said to the girl, I said, that's somebody's glasses over there covered in mud. And I went and looked, and by God, they were my prescription glasses.
How funny.
Still intact. So it's sure nice to have those back again.
Yeah.
Now I can read.
That's wonderful.
So I may get the binoculars out again, but my eyes were
good.
bothering me so much. I wasn't bird watching.
Yeah.
Seen some wonderful birds.
Yeah.
One time I came out and the noise was unbelievable. I thought, God, the blue jays are making a noise. And then I looked, I said, well, they're no blue jays, they were blackbirds. And the sound, we'd heard the sound before. I said, George, come and listen to this sound. We've heard this before on one of the National Geographics. It was just incredible. There must have been 200-300 of them.
Wow.
It turned out they were black terns.
Ah.
And they live in the valley, but in August, they migrate to the coast to travel where they're going to travel. I can't remember where it said they go to for the wintertime. I guess it's the peninsula down there, somewhere, Yucatan Peninsula or something. And so here with this huge flock, the trees were just absolutely alive with them. It was fascinating.
And they're loud, too.
Oh, very, very loud, yeah.